Hello guys, this is Ry Durson from iRain Tech. This is Matthew. And this is Jeffrey, our cameraman. Today we are going to be doing a quick comparison, speed tests, and physical features between the iPad 2 3G Verizon version and the brand new iPad mini Black and Slate, the iPod Touch 5th generation Black and Slate, the iPhone 4S 16GB white, and the iPod Touch 4th generation Black 8GB. At the end, we will also compare it with this MacBook Air 13-inch 2012. First, we'll run a Geekbench test on all of these devices. All these devices are in airplane mode, so you have no worries about notifications coming in. Check your passcode. And now, we will open Geekbench on all of these. Now, the iPad 2 is an iPad 2, a CDMA version. It's on iOS 5.1, unfortunately, and it's an Apple A5 processor clocked at 1 GHz with about half a gig of memory. And now onto the iPad Mini. The iPad Mini is on iOS 6.0.1, latest, and it has an ARM v7 processor clocked at 999 MHz. It isn't A5, but I don't think Geekbench was updated for the iPad Mini. Now onto the iPod Touch 5th generation. It is on iOS 6.0.1, also an ARM v7, the same thing as the iPad mini, but it's clocked less. And now onto the iPhone 4S. We are also on iOS 6.0.1 with an Apple A5 processor clocked at 800 MHz with about half a gig of RAM. And now onto the iPod Touch 4th generation. We have iOS 6.0 on there, not updated to 6.0.1, the latest. With an Apple A4 processor clocked at 800 MHz with about a quarter gig of memory. Now, just to prove there are no more running apps, here are all our multitasking trays, which are empty. So that means, these Geekbench tests will be run in a more accurate manner. So let's just go back into the Geekbench app, and now let's run the benchmarks. Now, these do not need to be run at the same time, because they will give the same results in the end. We'll just wait for these to complete. A few more seconds. iPad 2 and iPad mini seem to be ahead of the crowd. Started earlier. Yeah, that's true. They did start earlier, but still. So the iPad mini was the first one done with the Geekbench score of 754. The iPad 2 was second done, even though I know they all started at different times, so don't criticize me in the comments, with a score of 757, and the iPod Touch 5th generation ended with a score of 625, the iPhone 4S ended with a score of 630, and the iPod Touch 4th generation in last place with the worst score of 390. So, in order, the iPad 2nd generation is in first place with the best score of 757. The iPad mini is in second place by 3 points with a score of 754. The iPhone 4S is in third place with a score of 630. The iPod Touch 5th generation is in fourth place with a score of 625. And the iPod Touch 4th generation is in fifth place with a score of 390 because of its A4 processor. Now again, just like the Geekbench test, all our multitasking trays are cleared of all apps running. So all these devices, iDevices, are all clear, and all the RAM is free pretty much for the most part, except for push notifications, which airplane mode is on, so you won't get any. So you know, basically. Okay. Now we will continue and open the camera app on all these devices. We will count down 3, 2, 1, go, and then we will all tap the camera, and then we will decide what places each device gets in. So, now we go. 3, 2, 1, go. iPad 2, iPad mini, I believe iPhone 4S, iPod Touch 5, and the iPod Touch 4th generation, if I'm correctly looking at the devices. Now we will be opening up the settings app on all devices. Same thing, 3, 2, 1, go we will do. But just, so we don't get bad comments. Yes, I know this is on iOS 5. The settings app icons are different. Whoa. Ermagerd. So, it's not really that much of a difference. It's the same settings app. And obviously the multitasking we just showed you, they're all cleared. So, we will now do settings. So, we will do it in 3, 2, 1, go. I think the iPod Touch 5th generation won that one. We'll do a replay and show you. After further review, we have declared that the iPod Touch 5th generation has won first place, then the 4S, then the Mini, then the 4th generation iPod, surprisingly, and then, lastly, the iPad 2. If you disagree with us, comment what you think. Who won, because we are only available to review on a really small 3.5-inch iPhone 4S screen, so we might not be very accurate, but we strongly believe that the 5th got first, on the 4S, then the iPad Mini, then the 4th generation iPod, and then the iPad 2. Now we are onto the physical features. Now we have them in order from thinnest to thickest. Now we will be comparing. Now here is the iPod Touch 5th generation on your left and the iPod Touch 4th generation on your right. Now we will be focusing in on the corners. You see the iPod Touch 5th generation has an advantage over the iPod Touch 4th generation in thinness. Now it's the iPod Touch 4th generation on your left and the iPad Mini on your right. The iPod Touch 4th generation is barely thinner than the iPad Mini. Very close call there. Now it's the iPad Mini and the iPad 2. There's a little dent on the iPad 2, sorry about that. But you can obviously see from the middle right here that the iPad Mini is thinner than the iPad 2. And now, last but not least, the iPad 2 is a little bit thinner than the iPhone 4S. Okay, now we will be discussing the ports on here. Now, the iPod Touch 5th generation has the new Lightning port, focusing, as does the iPad Mini. And then the iPod Touch 4th generation, the iPad 2, and the iPhone 4S all have the 30-pin dock connectors. We'll be showing you a difference really quickly. Now, as you can see, this is the Lightning connector. Focus. And then compared, this is the 30-pin connector. And compared together, obviously the Lightning is very much smaller than the 30-pin connector. And now we'll just plug this into the 5th generation iPod very quickly. And then we will plug in the 30-pin to the iPod Touch 4th generation. So as you can see, that the Lightning connector is obviously smaller, just smaller, and the Lightning connector is also reversible, unlike the 30-pin connector. Now we will discuss all the cameras in order from best camera to worst camera. So the iPhone 4S obviously has a very large lead over the iPod Touch 5th generation with an 8-megapixel camera. The iPod Touch 5th generation and the iPad Mini have the same exact camera, the 5-megapixel iSight camera, but the iPod Touch 5th generation is in front because it has the long-awaited flash on the iPod Touch. The iPad Mini, just as I said, the 5-megapixel iSight camera. The iPod Touch 4th generation, I forgot what the exact megapixels were. I believe it's like 1.3 megapixels or something like that. And the iPad 2 with the worst quality, or the same as the iPod Touch 4th generation, one or the other, with 1.3 megapixels, I would say. Thank you guys so much for taking the time and watching this video. Now don't forget to visit our website, iRainTech.com. As you can see right there. This is Arai.
Matthew.
Jeffrey.
Peace.